Well, hello there. My name is HW, and thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. Those beautiful, sort of emotive tones you just heard were courtesy of this 1967 ES335 that I call Sunny. She's absolutely beautiful. She's a joy to play, and she brightens my day. And you were just hearing the profiles that we captured from an amp we talked about in the last video, which was the 1964 AC10 with two 10-inch silver Alnico speakers. We think probably made by Celestion. I did a little more research, most likely made by Celestion. They are really spectacular, and they really put this vintage AC circuit, which is equipped with an EF86 preamp tube, just in a different kind of class. My friends, I will tell you honestly, the profiles you're about to hear and what we've done to capture this amp, it almost sounds better than the amp in a way. And the only reason I say that is because I really took so much time to make sure the mics were in the exact same placement. Whereas, you know, in like a demo I usually do here, I just kind of throw the mics up there and we capture the sound and that's it. But there are some beautiful tones. There's some rockin', rip your face off, fire-breathing dragon stuff. Let's not talk anymore. Let's just get into it. This is the 64 AC10 Twin V3. It's what you heard at the beginning of the video. And it is, it's the vibrato channel in this amplifier was the brighter channel. The normal one you could make sort of bright. And we did that. We also covered it in sort of a normal capacity, what you would expect out of a normal channel of a Vox. And then of course we jumpered the two together. But let me turn this off for a moment. Let me turn off this vibrato. And let's listen to that same tone without any of the vibrato on. Because the vibrato is nice. Again, with the vibrato, you just get this vibrato sound, you know? It's beautiful, but turning that off for a minute, you can hear the tone just a little more clearly. It just is a beautifully rich and sort of, you know, I'm on the neck here. If I go to the middle. I mean, that's a glassy top end with this sort of defined low end. Listen to this. That is heavenly. Now, I love the character of the bass in this amp, and we're going to get to the gain in a second because it gets ridiculous. But the clean, what I love about this vibrato channel and turning off that vibrato is like the secret of the amp. That is the glassy high-end chime that's in there. Now, you're going to hear what I mean with the normal channel, and I might even bust out some different guitars, but let me jump over to the normal channel, and we captured this two different ways. See, there wasn't a brilliant channel. The vibrato channel was the more brilliant of the two channels. It was glassier and open and didn't have as much mid-range. The normal channel, though, I mean, we could control the whole amp from the tone knob, but the vibrato channel was voiced in such a way that you couldn't get away from its brighter, glassy nature. Even when you added in when you darken that tone knob up completely, it just still came through, you know? The normal channel though, this is where there was more gain on tap. This is where we had a lot of flexibility. So we captured it two different ways. So here's clean again, AC Twin 2. You can hear that now. Let's jump to, really quickly, I want you to hear this, Bright 2, and listen to the increased top end. That's going to become more apparent as I sort of switch guitars. I'll get away from the airiness of this AC30. You're going to hear the difference in the top end, and we're really going to hear it as we go up the sort of overdrive levels. Let me switch guitars real quick. Okay, so right there you can hear hotter pickups push this thing even more. That's number 3. I added some like a dotted eighth delay there for a little edgy kind of thing, just so you could hear that chime. Let's hear full on like overdrive. To me, that's the rock sound. That is the sound that I'm looking for in an AC30. Listen to these bass notes really clear, just for a second. They're like there, but they're never in the way. Like it's gonna fit so well the bass player. I'm in love with that sound. How do you do it? How do you do it, Kemper? I never understand it. Okay, listen. Same channel, but we mark these profiles B. Let's go right to the brighter one of the same amount of gain, almost same, I mean, mostly same settings. We got a volume and a tone mostly, right? So the tone's different. So we shot it like a bright channel. So that normal channel is available in 2 variations. You want like sort of bright or you want regular. What you just heard was regular. Here's bright. It is extra crunchy, sizzly, hot on the hot. It's like a plate of fajitas when they bring it to your table and it's still cooking. It's going, tss. That's what this tone is. That's what this tone is. Because it's bright, I like for the lead stuff. See, Vox amps a lot of times, listen, 90s AC30s to me, they never like tube screamers. Because they have, 90s AC30s, which I'm a big fan of. I play profiles of a 90s AC30 every week. I play it every weekend. I play a couple sets or a couple services, you know. That's about to change because you're looking at HW's #1 amp. It's already been done. The performances have already been switched over. This is the Vox of my dreams. And live, I'm a Vox guy. In this room, Fender amps, I love that big bottom end and the extended high presence and the brightness and the reverb, and it's all beautiful. And there's a place for that. There's definitely a place for that. Music is full of places for that. But to me and the type of music I play, Vox live has always been a thing. I love that focus kind of sound. I love P90s, and I just think they roar through the right Vox amp, and this is the right Vox amp. Now, I turned on the tube screamer there, and it sounded different. Let me get into why. It sounded really great, okay? With the tube screamer. The notes, do you hear those notes, how articulate it is? I can play, with this amount of gain, I'm playing 6 notes in a chord. Usually we make the chord smaller, the more gain, the more delay, so that it doesn't get like murky. Stable sounds, 1s and 5s, right? 1, 5, 1, that's a power chord. That's why it sounds so stable, you know? Tone, 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 tone. You know what I'm saying, right? Stable. It's a perfect 5th. It's perfect. No majors and minors about it, right? Okay, but when you're able to hit all the notes, because there's an insane amount of just like high-end clarity. It's this combination. Guys, it's really interesting. I haven't heard it before, kind of quite like this. It has that Alnico characteristic where that top end is right there, but usually what happens there, like if you go back and listen to the 62 AC30 pack, it's very bright, right? And the low end is quite understated. But that was the beauty of the early 60s AC30 amps, is they have enough power and girth that when you really get them going, in the Brilliant channel, I use that Brilliant channel a lot because it ducks out so much of the low end. Because if you just use like the normal channel, you jump them together, you get gobs and gobs and gobs of this low mids that can be really nice, but sometimes it gets to be too much, and that's when the amps sound explodey. Now, explodey can be really good on the bridge pickup, but how does it work on the middle and neck? See, there's enough clarity here because the bass is sort of kept in this very tight area. It has this tight character, and it's a little bit ducked down, but it's still there. And it's the character of 10-inch speakers. 2 10s has a different type of bass. Brad Paisley uses 10s famously. Obviously, the old Fender Vibraluxes use 10s. The Fender ProSonics, which are very popular on Sunday mornings for those types of tones. That's a real part of that sound is the 10-inch speaker. It does a different thing than a 12. And truthfully, it is more difficult to mic, I will tell you, because everything's closer together. It's just you have less surface to explore. So your movements have to be very tight because you kind of have there's less distance to travel. So you can't be as liberal with microphone movements. But it really is amazing, even on the middle. Wow. Guys, that's with a tube screamer. That amount of clarity in the middle with an extra mid-range hump. It's the perfect Vox. It's the perfect Vox. Like, okay, let's do even more gain because I want you to hear jumpering these channels together. Because there you get the most, right? And there you have to... What's funny is these profiles have a even more kind of high end because you now, on the Vox circuits, the brilliant channel or the brighter one is usually so much brighter than the normal one that they're voiced so differently that when you jumper them together, you have this tone knob now that's controlling 2 different amps, and the sweet spot on one is not really the sweet spot on the other. So you have to compromise. You want to brighten up some of that low girth. You want to give it definition. You want to bring up some of the mid-rangey breakup from the normal channel. But on the vibrato channel, you're having to combat this sort of extra high end. Let me show you what I'm talking about. First, let me start on this this number 3 profile. So the amp's basically straight up. Here you can really clean that up, and I'm even on hot pickups, man. I'm on hot pickups here, and I'll show you some really lighter, low output pickups in a second. This guitar actually has more gain than the 335 that I started with, even though those are humbuckers. Those are old T-tops, and they're so weakened by time and age. They've seen a lot happen in their life, and you can just hear it in the pickups, but they're weak, you know? They're like, they've got that old man voice, you know? It's got everything. It's monstrous, and it's also got this nice bright clarity. And the thing is I like about that extra clarity is a good amount of treble is kind of required for the touch sensitivity going real clean thing, because then those frequencies pop out a little bit as the mid-range kind of holds back. The amp sort of holds back all this breakup, right? Here's just even more of it. I mean, that's like just a killer, full, thick rock. You need to fill up a mix. You need to fill up the band. You can use that. Let's see how this thing behaves now with a Strat. Because I think every great amp has to do something really great with a Strat, or it's not a great amp. Like by definition. There can sometimes be this really like magical thing that happens when an amplifier just gives a new voice to a guitar. I mean, that's the best Goldie's ever sounded. Like, it's the best. And it's terribly inspiring, to be honest with you. It's when things just work together, when you find like a really great pair like that, a really great Strat, and these profiles, I don't know. This is my Strat. Maybe yours will sound similar. Maybe yours will sound a little different. These are custom shop pickups. I mean, I feel like to a degree, a Strat is a Strat. You know, you can get similar tones, right? Are you gonna, does everything sound like, the same? I mean, go get some good quality stuff. Things have different character. These are low output, vintage sounding things. But I mean, this is like minor 7 just made flat in this Jeff Beck kind of style thing. If I could fault this amp for anything, it's that it's too clean. This one is in really good condition, and I like when they're a bit beat up. I like when they're a little beat up. But this grill cloth is just a little bit worn, and there's a couple scuffs and stuff, but this is probably one of the cleanest AC10s in existence right now. And I'm really privileged to own it. I think this is one of the best amps that's ever been made, to be honest with you. For my taste, if you're a Vox guy, this tone is really maybe one of the most special things I think that I've come across in the sort of British chime world. And these profiles, I'm going to keep this amp because I love it, because I love looking at it, because I love the history behind it. And I think some vintage amps are probably good investments in the future. But I will probably never turn this thing on, to be honest with you. I'm going to play these profiles every week. This might be some of our best work. This might be some of our best work yet. Get the samples, try it out, or if you like them, get after it. I've been HW. This is an incredible example of how powerful the Kemper is and what the Kemper can do. And last thing I'll say, DSP, ShmeSP. We still use tube amps from the 1950s because they just frickin' sound incredible. And so does my Kemper. I don't get the science behind it. I don't get the numbers behind it. I don't know anything about algorithms. But I have played everything out there. This is what I show up with. I don't know. It just feels right. It just feels right. I've been HW. Thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. HW, out.